The Singularity is the 30-second killer added to Dead by Daylight, capable of zoning the map with his biopods and sneaking up on people that are unsuspecting. Upon looking at his power description, he may seem very daunting, but he's actually pretty simple when you break it down, which is exactly what we're going to do in this video. The Singularity, or as I like to call him, Larry, has one power for the most part, and it's his biopods. By default, you can shoot up to 8 of these onto the map at anywhere you'd like, and if you shoot a 9th one, it'll just get rid of your first one, similar to Hag Traps, how it just kind of is on a rolling calendar. When aiming for a spot to place your biopods, you'll see that if it's a blue icon, you can place a biopod there, but if it's pink, it will not work. Once you've placed a biopod, you can then view it like a camera. You'll have this reticle like you're in an FPS game, and as long as the survivor is within your sights and close enough, you can shoot them to infect them. This infection is called temporal slipstream, but that's a lot, so we're just going to call it infection. Once you started infecting survivors, that's when his power really opens up. First off, infected survivors can spread their infection, similar to plague if they interact together. The same thing can happen with Singularity. Once you have an infected survivor in front of you, you have 2 choices. You can either use another biopod's camera to shoot them again, or you can shoot them directly, both of which will teleport you right next to the survivor. This teleport is called slipstream teleportation, but again, that's a lot, so we're just going to call it teleporting. Upon a successful teleport to a survivor, you'll be in overclock mode for the next nearly 5 seconds. Overclock mode is very strong because 1, you'll break pallets and breakable walls 75% faster, you'll vault windows 75% faster, and it has a built-in Spirit Fury-like effect where if a pallet is thrown on you, you just instantly break it, but it will slow you down. That's sort of Singularity's power in a nutshell, but the survivors need a way to counteract his power, and they can do that through EMPs. EMPs are a trial-only item similar to Nemesis vaccines or Pinhead's box. EMPs can be found in a supply case. There are 5 of these on the map by default, and they print unlimited EMPs, but they take by default 90 seconds to print. When a survivor interacts with an EMP, they have to charge it and it will create this huge bubble on their screen, and any biopods or infected survivors, including themselves, within that bubble will be disabled and cleansed respectively. If a survivor disables your biopods via EMP, you can either wait 60 seconds for it to come back, or you can simply shoot your disabled biopod and then place a new one immediately. It's important to note that a survivor doesn't have to drop their item to use an EMP, it just takes priority over their item. So if they have a medkit and then they pick up an EMP, that is their item until they use their EMP, and then they can use their medkit again. Now that we've kind of broken down Mr. Larry's power, let's jump into some real gameplay examples of monitoring the map with his biopods or using his power in chase against the survivor. So as we load into Haddonfield here, you'll see the first thing I do is as I go around the map, I'm setting up biopods at more key locations, like here at the front of the main building, and just kind of like as I walk around, where I'm going to check generators. As I walk up into this building, I hear Jill drop down behind me, and I'm able to get a quick little M1 here, but then I use my power in a great way. I shoot this biopod ahead of her, so I'll have line of sight to infect her, and then I'm able to just catch up to her, shoot her directly to teleport to her into overdrive mode, and then I think that makes her hesitate. And she could have maybe made the pallet, but I would have been in overdrive mode anyway, so that was an easy down. You'll see as I enter this building, go up to check on the generator has progress, but nobody's here, so I may as well kick it. But since I'm already up here in this building that's a pain to get up to, I may as well leave a biopod up here so I can check it later, or at least make survivors use an EMP. Finding the Jill again, we shoot a biopod onto the edge of the map so I can get this shot to infect her, and she camps the pallet. So as I teleport to her, I land in the pallet, and it does that Spirit Fury-like effect to go ahead and get rid of it for me. Then we shoot her again and catch right up. She did a good job this time of not immediately throwing the pallet because I was in overdrive mode, but we still ended up getting a hit. Right after that hook, I use my biopod to check on this upstairs generator, and the Claudette doesn't move away fast enough, so I'm able to infect her, which is a mistake on her part because now she either has to risk doing that gen infected and I can teleport straight to her, or she has to go out of her way to get an EMP and disable it. Then for the next few seconds, I'm setting up some new biopods using the biopods I already have to check on gens, and I can see that they've already EMP'd the biopod I just placed down, so I just quickly replace it, and which kind of wastes their time because I did it so quickly. So here I make a mistake. The Claudette that I infected up here on this gen, if I had had the reflexes to shoot her right there, I would have teleported to her, but I hesitated, and then I checked her again, and she already moved out of the way, which was really good by her. To set up a cool play though, because I was able to put a biopod over here where that window drops down, and I head up here to force her out, and I know she either has to take the window and get baited or she gets hit. She takes the window and I immediately shoot her with my new biopod, and I'm right there, earning us a relatively easy down. The next survivor we approach, the Sheva, she uses the EMP in a very annoying but very efficient way. You can't blame her. So we set up a biopod right next to her to infect her, and she uses that moment to then EMP both biopods and herself of her infection right there in that moment. So she wasted a lot of our time in one fail swoop, but at least we're able to reset our biopods since we're already over here. It's funny I say that though, because as I'm setting up my biopods, we see Kate waiting with Sprint Burst to EMP those once again new biopods. So they're really putting a lot of pressure on me and my power, forcing me to be an M1 killer at times. After hooking the Kate, I immediately go and check my biopods again just to make sure that I'm checking my generators and things like that. And we immediately see two survivors over here. I think about infecting both, but instead I infect one and try to teleport straight to them, which I do successfully. She grabs an EMP right there in front of me, but I've already slipstreamed to her, and I get to teleport to her again right before she EMPs the infection off of her. And because I'm persistently putting this biopod on top of this house in front of this generator, I'm able to use it to infect her again right away, and this helps me catch up to her and chase later. Coming over to this generator again to replace these biopods for what feels like the 4th time. Using my Pop Goes the Weasel on this gen, and we see the Jill in the middle of the map waiting to use her sprint burst. So I thought it'd be good to let you know that as long as you get that line of sight on the survivor, it doesn't matter if they're sprinting or not, you can infect them. After long enough, after pressuring the survivors through our power, we eventually close hatch. The other survivor doesn't even try to open the door, and we get our 4K. Well, that's it for my guide to the Singularity, the Larry, our 30-second killer in Dead by Daylight. Let me know if you have any questions that I didn't answer, or if there's anything you want me to go more in depth of. Maybe I can answer it in a comment. I appreciate you for watching. If this helped, maybe leave a like and a subscription. It would help the channel out a lot. We also stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Wisperks. We're always just vibing over there, playing Killer Survivor or doing whatever. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. This is how you play Singularity.